Welcome to the show, The First Generation Mindset. First Generation Mindset is about taking nothing for granted. And through my book, I talk about the concept, which is having clarity of your vision in life, adding value to your clients and customers, and last is your ask. And today I have these visionary friends and business partners, Faisal and Khatidja. I've known them for several years, not only as business partners, but also as close friends. I've done several trips with them as well. But what they bring to the table is a mindset of having clarity of the vision they have and the value they add to the market on a daily basis. Husband-wife team, power couple of Houston. They started their own organization in 2016. And it's been less than a decade. But over a short period of time, their title company and the law firm has done over $1 billion. You heard it right. Over $1 billion of transaction and help clients make the right financial decision. I'm super excited to engage today with Faisal and Khatidja. Welcome on board, guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
I know we've known each other for several years. You know, we've done business together and we've traveled together. What really inspires me is working with family is one thing, but working with your spouse is another animal altogether. So whose brainchild was it to work with a spouse? Was it you, Khatidja, or Faisal? Who inspired the other one?
I think she's a super smart one, so I always needed her support. I'm gonna brag about her a little bit. She was a valedictorian in high school. Graduated top of her class in college at UT. Then at U of H Law Center, she was another top tier. So it was just one after another. And so when you have a wife that is let's just say at the very top, you want that support from her.
Sure. So you both went to law school.
Yes.
When did you guys meet?
We met.
Oh God. Now you're asking. Now you're going back.
Was it in school, college, through family, growing up?
We met through our community.
Okay.
So in 1999, that's when we actually met.
Wow.
Yeah.
At that time,
And
you were just young
friends.
kids.
Yeah, just friends. And then
I think we were just headed to college. I was headed to U of H, and she was going to UT.
Okay.
And we had some mutual friends, so sort of connected through that.
And at that time, both of you were going to law school?
College.
undergraduate.
Undergrad.
Yeah.
So you had no vision, no clarity, what you're going to do after that.
That's right.
Oh, heck no. I think we were both doing computer science, I think. That's how we started. Because, at that time, computer science and IT was like
Yes.
really hyped up, and you could get jobs easily. And, but, we eventually figured out it was not for us.
That was the year Y2K, 2000.
Yeah.
When things were supposed to crash, planes fall off from the sky.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about you got to have skill set to be in the IT field.
Yes.
So was it your parents, family members? Who was influencing you to get into the IT field?
For me, it was my parents.
Your parents?
Yeah.
They said, beta, you got to do this.
They said this is where the future is. And, I was always a child that always listened to my parents. It was just my
So you don't
nature.
listen to them anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Now they listen to me.
So
Just
they
kidding.
were influencing you to follow a field which they thought was the right strategy for your growth and success. How about for you, Faisal?
My family has always been supportive in my decisions, and I always enjoyed computers and programming when I was younger, not now.
Okay.
So I just it came natural to me. So I enjoyed what I was doing, so I wanted to continue pursuing that in college.
So undergrad, both of you were pursuing your major or minor in computers. Is that what you guys were doing?
Computer science.
Computer science.
Yeah.
So only for me for the first year, and then I quickly changed because it was not for me.
I did the same thing. It was just not for me.
What
So-
did you switch to?
Business, finance.
Business
I did
and finance.
So I did finance as my major and accounting as a minor.
Wow.
And I switched over to, it was not because of her. I just want to make sure to clarify that. I did not switch majors because of her, okay? But I did switch over to business as well and did management information systems and entrepreneurship actually from U of H.
Wow. So that was undergrad.
Yeah.
You switched your majors mid-year, halfway through the program. What did you guys do after that?
I went to law school.
Okay.
So
How did that come about?
Again, my dad was always into higher education, so I did have some offers after graduating college, but again, listening to my parents, I was like, okay, let me look into what higher education interests me most.
Okay.
And so that's how I took a pre-law class at UT and really liked it. And so I said, okay, this is the one for me. This is the higher education I'm going for. At that point you have choice, MBA, doctor, lawyer, whatever higher education interests you the most. So
Did you have a gap, Khatidja, between undergrad and?
I did. I had a year gap, and
Okay.
then that I just helped my mom. My mom is a realtor, so I just helped her in real estate and kind of just studying for the LSATs, the exam that you have to take before law school, and then that's how it came about.
How about you, Faisal?
I took a break as well. I went back to our family business. My brother, my sister-in-law run that business. It's an ATM processing business, ATM Link, and I had helped start that business in 1999. And I wanted to go back and support the family. And while doing that, I had decided I did want to go back to school, and that's something that my dad and I had shared when I was younger, and so I was actually planning to go to MBA school. So I took a few years off of after college, after graduating from U of H, and I was about to do my MBA, and my uncle, one of my fatherly figures, he says to me, I've been surrounded by entrepreneurs my entire life, and so he goes, "Beta, we can teach you business, but we can't teach you the law. So go to law school." And I took that at heart. And fortunately, we have a lot of good friends who've been to law school, and they all were very supportive of my decision, and they were guiding me really well, including Khatidja.
So both your family members, your parents, your uncle, played a critical role in guiding you through, advising you to go to law firm. So who graduated first?
Oh, Khatidja did.
She did?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
How many years back behind were you?
2 years back, because I went back for our family business, and so it was good.
So by your heart, you are an entrepreneur,
Correct.
business-minded. When you think about attorneys, we think about sitting behind the desk, attacking people verbally, and getting things done their way. It's their way, or the highway. That's how attorneys are perceived
Correct.
to be.
Correct.
It's always about winning.
Correct.
When you work against an attorney.
Correct.
But then your specialization is you are real estate attorney,
Correct.
where you could have been attorney with any kind of field, a trial attorney, any kind of attorney. Why did you pick real estate, Faisal?
I'm gonna let Khatidja answer first,
Sure.
'cause if that's okay.
Why did I pick
So why
real
did you guys pick, to specialize in real estate or legal work rather than any other legal work?
Sure. So quickly in law school, I realized I did not want to go to the courtroom. So I was going to be a transactional lawyer, which means you don't go to the courtroom and you make transactions happen, right? And so I worked at a large firm, and we rotated between departments during the summer internship, and real estate ended up being my niche. And so, just kind of fell in, and I had the language, because I had worked with my mom. My mom growing up was a realtor, so I, had heard the terms and stuff like that. So it kind of just blended together.
What did you like about it at that time? You saw your mom as a realtor, but now you're doing legal work as an attorney. What did you like about it at that point of time?
What I like about being a lawyer in
At
the
that
real
time,
estate.
when you were young.
Oh, when I was younger, when my mom.
So when you got your degree, you said, okay, got my degree, now go work for a law firm, specialization in real estate. What did you like about it? What was pulling you in?
So actually, when you go for a big firm and you're just excited to get a job, and you're like, finally, I'm going to make some money, and what department do you want to put me in?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So it kind of worked naturally. They put attorneys in different departments, and I guess they, asked me what my preference was. And I said real estate, and so they put me in the real estate and finance because my undergraduate was in finance. So, at that time I got to represent very large lenders in, in lending for real estate. So that's how I got into real estate law, actually.
Fantastic.
So I represented all of the lenders, which actually gives me an advantage now because when we work with, we're the middleman as title company. And so I've represented lenders, so I know how their counsel thinks and I know how to help them. And I never say no because I know what they're going to budge on and I know what they're not going to budge on. And especially in our commercial real estate deals, I think that helps a lot because, I understand and I speak their language.
While it may seem accidental where you are at today, but I believe everything is predetermined. There are dots
I agree.
written by God in the universe, and they just have to be connected. So your mom being in the business, being a real estate professional, you saw her growing up, hustling, selling homes, doing transactions, meeting with clients, and she may be talking about it at the dinner table, what she did during the day. And all of those things play a role.
Most definitely.
Subconsciously, you realize, my mom is an entrepreneur. She's hustling to make money because as realtors, it's all commission-based. There's no
100%.
set paycheck every month. For you, you saw your family. But what's really exciting is while you guys met, took different paths, but somehow ended up in the same law field, how did you guys connect back again as a couple? Who's going to answer that?
I guess I'll answer that.
Let's make sure he gives a correct answer, Khatidja.
So when I graduated, I always knew that I wanted to start a law firm. I've been business-minded. Like I said, I surrounded myself with family members and mentors who've been in businesses, who've ran businesses. So I've always been business-minded. So my goal was always to, start a law firm. And so initially when I was doing litigation, I enjoyed that. Then I transitioned over to transactional work, so doing real estate and corporate work. And after a few years of getting a lot of knowledge, learning a lot from the partners that were supporting us, the law firms that we were with, we were very fortunate that they taught us a lot. And then after several years, I asked Khatidja, I was like, hey, I think I'm ready to start this new journey. And she said, let's do this together. Initially, I was we were just gonna do a law firm, and Khatidja said, hey, let's start a title company with it.
That was her suggestion or idea?
It was definitely her suggestion, and I'm like, we do a lot of real estate. We both know real estate law really well. We know corporate law really well. We have the business knowledge. Title company. Should we really do this? Should we just add that on? Good thing about it was that from the attorney side, we knew all about title, right? It was just the back end stuff. So when she proposed that, we looked into it. And fortunately, we signed the dotted line to start the title company on February 1st, 2016. I still remember this date. It was a big move for us, as a family and just supporting each other, and it was good. It was a good transition, I'd say.
So Vellani Law Firm and Independence Title, that's how they were born on Feb 1st. But I go back and think about attorneys, a very popular show called Suits, right? Mm-hmm. All attorneys, phenomenal. I love that show. I'm going to ask a question. Why, before you guys became spouse and business partners, you were in different law firms, correct?
Yes.
That's right.
Did you guys ever go against each other on a case, or maybe you are repping one client and you the other one? That
We
never
did
happened.
not. No.
That would have been sweet drama.
That would have,
God.
but
That would have.
No.
She would have destroyed me.
That's amazing. So Vellani Law Firm Independence Title was born Feb 1st, 2016.
Correct.
Not too long ago. And your journey has been incredible. Initially, your vision goal was to build an empire, build an organization with like-minded, family-oriented people. Mm-hmm. And you shared early on with me, it's always about having effective time management skills, having resources who you can rely on. So share with us your journey where, as a new business owner, starting a law firm, a title company, there are always challenges. It's never rosy, never red carpet. What are some of the initial challenges you guys face when you started your own company?
I think one of the challenges was just learning the back end side of our title business, right? We just didn't want to be known as just another sort of title company. We wanted to make sure that we incorporate something that real estate agents, brokers can take advantage of. That was one of the biggest challenges to how do we make sure that we create a niche for that. And I think that's something that we've been able to do through a lot of feedback from real estate agents and brokers. And we're very fortunate about that. Another thing was, like you said, time management, right? We are attorneys. We have a certain amount of time that we can spend, right? That's our product that we sell. We don't have an actual physical product like a pen that we're selling, then we can scale that way, right? So how do you scale a business that's service oriented, right? You have to add the proper people, right? That's the best way of doing it, or you have to have processes or forms in place so to scale the business. And that was one of the biggest challenges that we had is how do you get to that level without reducing the quality of work that you provide, right? We've both been taught at firms and where we've always provided high quality of work, right? If we have a saying in our office, everything goes through two sets of eyes, right? So because what happens is if one attorney is reviewing the work or doing the work and the second one reviews, that second attorney may be looking at the transaction differently, right? So we've placed these processes in place and have, I would say, worked with our office and the staff that we work with, our colleagues, to make sure that we not only provide high quality of work, but the efficiency has to be there.
How about for you, Khatidja? Time management was a roadblock. How about for you as a new business owner? What were some of the roadblocks you saw in the business early on?
So I think for me, I'm going to give him credit on that. So for me, I was always corporate, right? Because I went straight into a law firm, and he was the one that kind of is like, okay, more entrepreneurial minded. And so for me to kind of change my perspective from being an employee to a business owner, that took us some time. And I think that was my challenge. But, learning from him and just relying on him, it really took us to the next level.
So being a couple business partner, business leaders, does one of you play the role of the good cop, one of the bad cop? Who's the good, who's the bad
We're
cop?
both good cops.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
You can only have good cops in our office.
So, as business owners, a lot of times we have to make tough decisions,
That's true.
especially when a decision impacts someone's livelihood.
Correct.
When you have, certain performance matrices and you have certain expectations, and a mistake made on a transaction can cost a lot of money on either side. As business owners, we have to sometimes make decisions that, we impact someone's employment. And it's not an easy conversation because that directly impacts what money they take home and the family
Most
being
definitely.
fed. So when you have those tough decisions to make and relay the bad news or, lay somebody off, as an example, who's a tough one who gets in the room and gets the job done?
Oh my God, that's me. And I hate being in that position, to be honest with you, because you're right. We're a family-oriented business, right? And so when you hire somebody and you bring someone to your team, you want to make sure that their work-life balance is also there, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you have to let them go, there has to be a major reason for it, right? It can't just be like something out of the ordinary. It has to be something that impacts the business so negatively that you do have to let them go, right? I'll give you an example. It's during when COVID happened. There was our business was pretty much shut down, like a lot of other people's, right? But Khatidja and I sat down and made sure that we didn't lay anyone off. Wanted to progress continuously, and because that's our mentality, to make sure that we have the right team in place. And so until we actually have to make that decision, we're going to prolong it as much as possible. And that sometimes is a bad thing as well, to be quite frank with you, right? Because sometimes you have a team member that may be causing disturbance, and you want to give them as much chances as possible, but there has to be a limit, right? It's a delicate line. So I make the decision after speaking with Khatidja, but when we get in that room, I'm the one talking. But I'll tell you, it's not easy at all.
It's not easy. I still remember.
Not for me, at least.
It's been several years. We had an employee, and for me, it's about ethics comes first.
Right.
Like, it's not about the dollar amount. It's the doing it correct each time. That's really important to us. And we had a team member employee, and this person had access to our business credit card, which is for business expenses. And I have an auditing background. I check things just to make sure things are not done incorrectly. And I saw a transaction come through, random transaction. It wasn't a lot of money, $50, $60, but I knew it was not a business expense under this person's profile. I said, this doesn't seem right, and then I started watching closely, checking their credit card statement or credit card transaction on a daily basis. And then I saw 2 more pop up. These were at gas stations getting gas. I said, now this person, first time you did that, maybe you pulled the wrong credit card out. It can happen, but did not come and tell me, hey, by the way, I made a mistake. Nothing about it. And then use it again a few more times. Like there's zero tolerance for that.
Yeah.
I would consider that as almost stealing.
Yep.
I remember clear as a day. I brought her into the conference room, and here's exactly what I said, word to word. I looked her in the eye and said, I have made an irreversible decision of terminating your employment effective immediately. Any questions? She said, why? I said, sure. Reason number 1, he has used credit card first time, second time, and so many times. And I have proof statements. Any more questions? No. All right, my team member is going to escort you out and take the laptop and all that stuff. It was done in less than 60 seconds because I was clear.
Yeah.
Yes, her financial impact was there, family and all those things, but there's zero tolerance.
Correct.
If
You're
I allow
100%
that
right.
to happen, what's the message I'm sending out to the other team members and employees that it's okay to steal money, right? That's zero tolerance.
Correct.
0.
So terminating someone as a business owner is not easy. And a few weeks back, I was sitting in the same studio with a 15-year-old, and he came in, I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. And I asked him a lot of probing questions. Why? Flexibility, success, you can make as much money and do all those things. And I role played with him. I said, imagine someone sitting across the table from you who needs to be terminated for right reasons, right? And she has a family to feed, and she's bawling her eyes out, crying. He or she's crying and asking for mercy, but you have no exception because what they did must lead to termination.
Right.
Yep.
What would you do?
You're right.
Right? It's a tough decision. Your heart bleeds. You know what? But it's best for the business. It's best for the rest of the company and employees. And people don't see that.
Yeah.
All they see are the transactions closing,
Yeah.
title company, but what goes behind the scene, managing people is the most challenging part. That's my perspective. What are your
I
thoughts?
agree with you. I think and the strategy that you use in terminating being very short, that's actually the same strategy we use. It is definitely hard, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. And I think that's one of the reasons why Khatidja sort of lets me do it, because I'm pretty, here are the concrete facts, right? I mean, you've done this or you've done that, and you brought up ethics. I think that's something very, very important when you're hiring, right? And that's sometimes got a gut from your gut, right? When you're asking questions to a potential candidate that you're about to hire, there has to be, I call it a good person factor, right?
Yes.
A good person factor is, for us, it has to be there. That's a mandatory thing for us, right? A good person has, high ethics. They have to understand that when they come in as a team, especially with our team, right? A lot of them have kids, right? And if one person has to take off because their kids have a recital or there's a parent-teacher conference, right? Another person needs to be able to say, I got your back, right? They have to have that understanding. That's a good person trait. How do you get that in an interview? You just have to sort of sense it, right? And there are sometimes questions that you ask during the interview that sometimes the candidate will respond in a way that shows that, hey, they're a good person. Another thing that we concentrate on in our office is that giving back to the community, and not only financially, but fortunately we've been blessed with legal knowledge, right? So we try to incorporate our legal services to the community and provide that pro bono, because that's something that was instilled in us as growing up, that volunteerism is something very important. So when we're hiring, we actually notice that as well. Hey, are you going to help not only our team but the external community that you're a part of? Like, are you going to do that? Is that something in you? And that's something that really means a lot to us, because that's a team member we want to keep for a long time, if not forever, right? And that's something that I think comes from the gut. But what you said is 100%. Going back to the termination thing, it's hard to do, but you have to be very quick at it and, concrete about
Absolutely.
why
I
you're
love
doing
what you
it.
shared, where you got to get a sense of good person vibe from the person you're talking to or interviewing. And I also agree with you where having the right resume, credentials is important, but that's secondary. For me, it's very, very simple. If I don't like you, I can't trust you.
That's
right?
true.
You are so
Like,
true.
and
You're
to
right.
do business with anyone, you have to trust them.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's a client, customer, team member, employee, whoever they are, you have to trust them. But if there is some habit of yours or theirs, there's a disconnect. You don't like that about them. It'll be hard to build trust. Simple.
100%.
I
If
agree.
you don't like the person, you can't do business with them.
Yeah.
When you go to a doctor's office, the doctor may be the best doctor, but it's the bedside manners or how they converse with you, how they make you feel, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I can get a good sense with him. I don't like him as much. The likelihood of you trusting them with your
very
treatment is much lower, right? But I really like this person, this doctor or this attorney. You know what? I can trust him or trust her. This likability leading to trust is so simple, yet it's complicated. Because in an interview, people come prepared.
Yep.
And they say stuff that you want to hear.
That's
right?
true.
So I use a tool called DISC Profile, DISC. D stands for Driver Eyes Interactive.
You did that in our group.
Yes, or a mastermind
In
group.
our
with that for
mastermind group
everyone.
meeting. Yep.
That essentially, a DISC Profile gives me a 50, 60-page report. It's almost like a Carfax report for humans, right?
Wow.
Just like you would never buy a used car from Craigslist
Yep.
without getting a Carfax report, a DISC Profile is something like that. So when I meet with someone, I review that in detail, spend a lot of time evaluating what the strengths are, what the drivers are, what's more important to them, having financial success or work-life balance. So if I'm hiring someone to do my support staff work, which is administrative work, transaction support work, do they have to be outgoing and very interactive? Not necessarily, but they have to be very detail-oriented. They have to be very cautious. Like you would not hire somebody who's not cautious to be a pilot.
That's
Like,
true.
they gotta follow the checklist each time and check box, but that has to be done. Someone who's, we'll do our way we do it, it's not gonna be a safe flight. So when I'm hiring someone to be in a role to sell and to prospect clients, they have to be outgoing. They can't be shy. They have to be interactive. Those skill sets help me. But I would outline a candidate profile who I think they are based on their DISC profile and the credentials. But the job posting is for something else. And they're applying for, let's just say, to be an admin. But they're outgoing. And when I talk to them, I break it down. I tell them, you know what, here's who you are. And here's how you've been. Here's what your skill sets are. I've had multiple candidates break down and say, you know what, you're right, Kunal. I just need a job today to pay my bills. But I don't want to sit behind the desk. I like to be in front of people. The people I say is simple but very effective. All of us are either an indoor cat or an outdoor cat. You take an outdoor cat, put them indoors,
gonna go
they'll scratch up
crazy.
all the furniture.
You're right.
You take an indoor cat, put them outside, they'll be miserable.
Right.
So someone who's an outdoor cat who wants to be in sales and prospecting clients, but they have a financial need today to get a job, to sit behind the desk, they will force themselves to become an indoor cat, sit behind the computer, sit behind the desk, and do the task. But they'll be miserable.
Yep.
And the day they get the opportunity to be outdoor, they'll be gone. So over the years, I create positions profiles based on people's strengths. You really are an outdoor cat. I know you're wanting to get stability in your paycheck. That's why you're applying for an admin job. What if I create a position profile for you where I compensate you every month for being a salesperson, but the commission share would maybe change a little bit, but you'll be compensated regardless. Now that gets them going. And once they get going, then say, you know what? I want to be 100% salesperson. But knowing what the skills are, knowing how to evaluate is critical. It's been a blessing for my company over the years.
Yeah, so Kunal, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Ask
So,
me.
I love learning from Kunal. This guy's like, super knowledgeable, and just blurts out everything really, really, really well. So you talked about the DISC method, and we've talked about this previously in our other groups. What would you suggest for businesses that are starting off or trying to scale? What is a good blend of a team? What kind of profiles should they have? You gave an example of a salesperson. Can you go into a little bit more of like what's a good blend?
Absolutely. So it depends on the type of company organization you have. So give me a business model, then I give you the breakdown. Give me an example. Which industry or business you want me to give you example on?
Your industry, real estate. Real estate. As a real estate agent.
So real estate. So first thing before I hire an employee or agent onto my team and company, I need to be crystal clear about my own profile. Okay? So I'm crystal clear about my strengths and my weaknesses. My philosophy, Faisal and Khatidja, is if I know my strengths, I go double down on that and I build on them. While I keep my weaknesses in my radar, I'm aware of them, but I'll find complementary resources or people who join my organization who make up for what I'm not good at. Most people say, you know what, if you are not good at something, just work on it, get better, get better, get better. The amount of effort, energy you'll put into getting better at something that you're weak at will take so much, and you would be grudgingly doing it. If you're not an outgoing person, if you don't like public speaking, and you force them to get on stage and speak, they'll do it, but that's not the comfort zone. So for me, first step is for any business owner, know about yourself first. Now, I'm blessed. My company organization is not me, but it's me and Sonnet. We have two business leaders, business partners who run the Seth Brothers team. And it's just how it is. We are complete opposites, right? So I'm outgoing, I'm risk taker, I'm outspoken. I love getting on stages, right? If someone tells me, here's a 50-page document and this is a legal document review, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing it.
Sonnet.
Yeah? He's very detailed, very risk averse, systematic. He'll read through, find the right fine print. When we're talking to a client or a customer or one of our team members, and they just want to be talked to, how's your day going? What's going on? You need someone with patience, which I lack, right? So when there's someone who is to talk to patiently and taken care of, he's phenomenal at that. But if we need to fight a fire and get things done and come up with quick solutions or strategic decisions, I'm really good at that. So we have an organization where we both complement each other. So while we're leading a company, we can go back and forth who's a better fit for a client or customers. When we were building an organization, for us, the first thing was hiring administrative staff who can take over tasks that are not worth our time and effort. So in our industry, Faisal and Khatidja, the biggest challenge is realtors are control freaks. They want to do everything on their own. They want to prospect a client, go show the home, write the contract, negotiate the deal, title company work, and they want to do everything because I'm the best. If I give it to somebody else, they would mess it up somewhere. So very quickly, I had to realize I had to figure out my hourly worth, right? Which is simple math. If you make $100,000 in a year, divide that by 2,000, that's $50. That's your hourly worth. You make $1 million a year, divide by 2,000, your hourly worth is $500 an hour. Most people, it's a simple math. They don't get that. Once you know hourly worth, you got to make a list of things that you're doing that can be delegated to somebody who can do that for $5, $10, $15. That's the first thing I did. I figured out what my hourly worth was. Back then, it was $50 an hour because I was making, give or take, $100,000 in a year. So if my hourly worth is $50, and if I'm filling up this contract form, it may take me 10 minutes, but I can delegate that to someone for $10, $15. That's the first thing we did. Hired an administrative support staff at $15, $16 to do those tasks. Now, as I was growing my company, now I need people to go out and bring in business, salespeople. I need somebody who's an extrovert, somebody who's outgoing, someone who can socialize, who can talk to anyone. So I had to find people who are high I on the DISC profile. High I means very interactive. They're not uncomfortable talking to strangers. That was key skill set needed. You have to be outgoing, right? Then I had to build my organization more with hiring more transaction managers, transaction coordinators. So for that, those roles, I focus on somebody who's high S and high C. S stands for stabilizer, easygoing, but C is really important, cautious. Because I'm doing a transaction, it could be $100,000, $1 million. If you put the wrong commission structure and the documents on the closing disclosure, that means what? The compensation would be impacted significantly. So I need someone who's really detailed and cautious in that. So no matter what business you're in, finding people to fit the role is critical. But I also meet people who I see a lot of talent in, and I seem to like them and trust them, but I don't have a position for them. So as self-employed business owners, creating position profiles for people when you don't have one, that creates a lifetime of loyalty. Because they say, you know what, even though they do not have something for me at that point of time, they brought me in and created something for me that helped me align with my strengths. I know it was a long-winded answer.
No, that's a
No,
great
it's
answer.
amazing.
Amazing answer.
Amazing.
Amazing answer. That's great. Great.
So your goals keep changing every year. Initially, your vision goal was to close 100 million, then became a higher goal. But you guys have closed $1 billion of volume in the last less than a decade. It's incredible. You said something early on, Faisal, about our business. We don't sell a product. It's a service-based business, right? But most people consider our business, whether it's law firm or real estate, as a merit-based business. What I mean by that is, how many years have you been a realtor? 5 years. How many years have you been an attorney? 6 years. It's not the number of years. It's how you service your client that
100%.
makes the biggest difference. And if I was in the Army and I said I've served in the Army or Navy for 10, 15, 20 years, that's merit-based. I fought so many wars, done this and that. When I was brand new, 2014, 2015, people looked at me, oh, you just new. Like, what do you know?
Yeah.
I have got 10, 15 years. The same realtors are left behind because you're focusing on merit-based.
Right.
So I really love when you said ours is a service-based business. Title company, attorney, we provide the good service. It does not matter how many transactions we close. They will believe in you and come with you. So you have progressed significantly well in the last nine years or so, over $1 billion. How do you guys build trust with your clients? What do you guys do differently than other law firms or title companies?
I think we are able to share knowledge in a way that's clear, efficient, and placing ourselves in their shoes, right? I would say attorneys are known for hourly billing, and billing crazy amount of hours and at a very high rate. When we started, we said, hey, we're going to make things a lot more efficient. We're going to focus on small to mid-sized businesses, and we're going to be their general counsel. We're going to be their real estate counsel, corporate counsel, at the same time providing this title company service, right? Anyone can start a title company. It's very easy to do. It's not that hard, right? But can any title company close on any transaction? Yeah, but there are a lot of transactions where you need the legal knowledge, right? Sometimes, we get a lot of matters where if it's a residential, real estate agent needs some legal assistance or their client needs some legal assistance. Well, guess what? We have a title company as well as a law firm. We're there for you, right? On the commercial side, Khatidja and I have worked on very, very large transactions. We've been very fortunate to have that, to be blessed with that. And because of the knowledge that we've gained from previous law firms, we're able to incorporate that at a very, very reasonable rate or a fixed cost, right? We're able to bring all of this together, a high quality of service to our clients that we've learned from our past experience. And clients see that, right? They're not scared to pick up the phone and call Faisal or Khatidja, hey, I have a title company question, right? Am I going to get billed for like 2 minutes? No, they're not going to get billed for like 2 minutes. They're not going to get billed for 5 minutes. It's not, it's a simple question. Ask us, right? If we're able to answer it, we're going to answer it. And if we can't answer it, I can guarantee you we'll figure out a way to get that answer for you. We'll help you. We're not going to just, going something in our office that we always we take pride on is that it's easy to come up with problems. Be the solution maker, right? If you have written something for a client or anything, and you're like, hey, I have a problem here, I can't figure this out. No, be the solution maker. Figure out how to resolve that problem, right? And that's something that we provide to our clients as well, as not only on the title company side, but on the law firm side, to making sure that we provide high quality service, while maintaining good communication and something that they can, understand very quickly.
Which is fantastic. What you're sharing, Faisal, is about adding value on an ongoing basis. Yes, you are a law firm. Yes, you're a title company. In the end, of course, you want people's business to close transactions, but you don't lead by that. You don't talk to people, hey, I see you're doing transactions, why don't you close with us? You lead by guiding them, answering questions, adding value to them. The problem is most people, business owners or non-business owners, lead by the ask. You want to buy a home, I'm a realtor, or I'm a law firm. That's the wrong approach.
Right.
When you help someone what their needs are and helping them make the right decision, in your case, legal decisions, they will like you and they're going to trust you. So when they have an opportunity to give you business, it'll be a no-brainer, right? And that philosophy is, echoes with me as well, because you can keep asking for a sale, you will not get it. But if you help other people and add value to them, whether it's a sale or a transaction, it will happen automatically.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Like I said, there are a lot of title companies out there. There are a lot of law firms out there. I know the client can go anywhere, right? It's that trust they have in us and our knowledge, and being able to provide that at a very high quality. It's something that we really take, great pride on, and we've grown organically over the years. Not too much heavily marketing, which might be a weakness, by the way, but. We've grown organically, and we've consistently have had the same clients come back again and again. And in fact, they are our support. They're the ones who referred the other business to us, because they're like, hey, you have a title company question, go to Faisal and Khatidja. You have a law firm question, real estate question, go to Faisal and Khatidja. They'll be there, and we're very fortunate to be in that position. And it's through the support of our clients, to be honest with you.
Fantastic. So, business is business, but for all of us, family is really important. And you have two young daughters, Khatidja, 7 and 11.
I do too.
They're her daughter. They're her baby. She's got them. Mama's girls. Are they mama's girls or daddy's girls?
Depends on what they want.
Oh, really?
Depends on what they want.
So give me an example. In which instance do they go to daddy? In which instance do they come to you, Khatidja?
God.
For example, if they want tennis shoes, they'll say, Dad, my shoes don't fit. And he'll automatically get online and find them some
And the
new
shoes are there the
Nikes.
next day.
And it will just arrive the next day.
Oh, and
Okay.
if they want to get nails done, which still, I don't know how, kids want nails done nowadays. It's crazy and super expensive, but they go to Mom, because I'm going to be like, you're not getting your nails done.
So girly stuff, they come to you. But when they are being mischievous, and who's the one who gets more upset, you or you?
It just depends on the day.
Depends?
Yeah.
So there's no consistent good cop, bad
There's
cop.
no
I
consistent.
think
No.
it just depends on the day. Depends on the day, and depends on the matter, to be honest with you.
And they'll gauge it. So
Yeah.
if they'll gauge it.
They're
So they
very
know
clever.
if mommy's
They're-
really mad, they'll go to daddy and be like, and if they know daddy's really mad, they'll come to mommy. So
They're very good about asking me a question that they already have an answer for from Mom, because Dad's always going to try to say yes.
But didn't we all do the same thing
Yes.
growing
Yes,
up?
definitely.
If one parent was upset, we go to the other one.
Yeah.
Of course.
Growing up, my dad was very, very strict. And over the weekends, he would teach me, math and science, all those subjects. And I would dread that, it's weekend, I'm going to have to sit down and study. If I don't get it right, I'm going to, get some beating. I was fearful of that. But then, when you are with your parent, and you've done something wrong, you would say stuff or do stuff to distract them.
Yep.
Yes.
Right? Distract them. They're talking, no, let me tell you about what happened here or there. And I would do that intuitively as a child, try to get away from the study hours. And very recently, I have one of my team members, and there were some transactions not being done correctly, right? And I had to come and have him sit down with me and ask the direct question. Okay, what happened here? What happened here? What happened here? Direct questions, right? There's no gray over here. This person sits down and is talking about everything but that. Like you're talking about my book, talking about. I said, time out.
I know what you're doing.
Let's get to the point.
I'm here to only talk about this. And when I said that, I bust out laughing because I got reminded. As a kid, I would do that to distract my dad. I would, he loved, gardening, planting trees and all that. So I would, hey, why don't we, it's weekend, I think we should put some more plants so that study time is taken away and we do something of an activity. So for your daughters, 7 and 11, I know you talked about for you, it's really important to build something and potentially pass down to your kids, the next generation. Do you see your daughters potentially being attorneys one day or being a title business? What do you foresee, Khatidja?
What do I foresee? I think they change their mind daily. So, right now I think it's too early to tell. But we do want to build this legacy if they want to take it over. We don't want to force them to take it over. We want them to also pursue what is in their, what did you say before, the dots?
Yeah.
And we don't want them to force them to come into this. But if they want to, take it to the next level in their generation, then we want to make sure we build a solid foundation for them.
I'll ask the same question to both of you. Knowing what you know about being successful, especially in America, would you influence directly, indirectly to your daughters to be business owners, entrepreneurs, or would you influence them or guide them through to be an employee somewhere, Faisal?
I think it really depends on them, to be honest with you. I think it depends on their personality. I have seen, a bunch of our friends, I would say, some of them are entrepreneurs and some of them work in the corporate field. And they're all successful in their own regard, right? And sometimes it depends on your own personality, right? We've talked about this, right? As an entrepreneur, it's not a 9-to-5 job, right? You have to do more. It's a 24/7 job, right? Sometimes you're going to be awake till 3 a.m. in the morning or waking up at 5 in the morning to get something done. And that can also happen in the corporate world as well. But, sometimes you want that security blanket as, when you're working for someone, and that's your personality. And there's nothing wrong with that. And as an entrepreneur, you go through, and I would say, an adventure, right? There are times where everything looks rosy and making good money, and then there are times where you're losing a ton of money, and you have to have a certain type of personality to be able to gauge that and to say, you know what, this is a roller coaster. It's going to go up and down. As long as you have, acquired the skills growing up and, educate yourself, surround yourself with good people, I think that's what I want my daughters to have, right? Work hard, educate yourself, and as you're growing, try to focus on what you want to do eventually in life, right? My younger daughter, one day she wants to be a doctor, next day she wants to be a librarian, next day she wants to be a teacher. My older one, loves, working with animals, so sometimes she talks about doing that, and now so every day it changes. But one good thing is that they're always thinking, right? It's active thinking, right? They're being proactive, and I that's what I want from them, because eventually once they go to a university and once they figure out what they want to do, their personality and their knowledge is going to guide them and the people around them.
Love it. I love what you shared. Khatidja, how about for you? What would you say?
Ditto.
Ditto? No, ditto is not allowed. Let's just say you had to pick a lane today.
So
You had to pick a lane, influence them, motivate them, push them, whatever, towards being an entrepreneur versus being an employee. You have to pick one or the other. What would you pick?
one or the other?
Yes.
I would say entrepreneur.
Why is that?
I think that, when you're putting in these hours, as he stated, you can put them in for someone else or for yourself. And I think when you're putting it in for yourself, I think the reward, the satisfaction that you get, or I personally get, and I see my daughters kind of following in the same footstep, is that your own satisfaction, I think it's self-satisfying. Honestly, I think that, it's a really tough question.
Yes. But I agree with you where, it has to be their drive, their hunger, what they want to do. if I were to share my thoughts, Faisal and Khatidja, if I was to make a roadmap for my two boys, I'm going to have a path, a journey, at least for a few years, if not more, for both of them to work in corporate America, work for someone.
And that's
Because
what we
when
did.
you are self-employed person from day one, the work ethic, the professionalism is going to be compromised. And you both shared, you first work for other law firms. You
Yeah.
paid your dues.
I agree with
I
you.
definitely
You gotta pay your
agree.
dues.
You learned that. Now that
Gotta
path
pay.
for me was a decade, 10 years. For some people, it could be 2 years, could be 5 years. But you have to work for someone else
Yeah.
Agreed.
to understand the merits of professionalism, showing up on time, deadlines, deliverables. And there's a discipline because that's needed. And then eventually, once they've worked for a few years, which field they pick, whether it's real estate or medical field, that's TBD. But what I'm instilling my boys today is they must understand what it means to be a business owner, what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to sacrifice things. I remember it's been a few months. We were going through some complexity with the transaction, with a legal issue, and you were with your family at Disney, right?
Yep.
And we were texting back and forth. You said, Kunal, I'm going to get on a ride.
You're going through attorney-client privilege information right now. Just letting you know.
I'm not going to disclose what we discussed, but you were getting on a ride with your family. So, Kunal, give me about 20 minutes. I'll be in a quiet spot. I'll call you. So when we talked about being self-employed, this was your personal time with your family and daughters at Disney, which is chaos over there. And it's exciting as well, but you took the time because of the trust relationship we have. If you were working for a law firm, you said, this is my time off, click. Sacrifices made as a business owner, they're not seen by people. They don't realize what it is. I also believe some people are wired and they're a good fit to be in a corporate culture, to be a 9 to 5, because for them, the priority may be spending time with their family or kids or, doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Money is not the driver for everyone.
Agreed.
Success is different. Somebody may say, I'm happy making $30, $40, $80, $100,000 as long as I have a 9 to 5. I can go in and be relaxed. How many evenings are we relaxed? We always take a work home. There's something playing in our mind.
Yep.
I'm sure at
24/7.
dinner table, you guys talk about files, closings, everything else. So it's less unplug, especially when you're building a business. So there's nothing wrong in being in corporate America. There's nothing wrong being an
0%.
entrepreneur. It's the person's personality.
And that's what
Right?
I
That's
said.
what we
I
talked
agree.
about.
Yep.
But if I had to make a path, I would try to influence my kids to get a job, at least for a few years, and work for a company or organization. Be answerable, be held accountable, have the appraisals. I worked for a company where it was a rating system, 1 to 5.
Yep.
3 meant average, 2 meant good, and 1 meant excellent. We would always strive to get a 2 or 1
You're right.
because that would lead to us getting a paid as a promotion.
Yep.
I mean, we can talk all day, all evening. I want to switch gears. I want to talk about your passions. I understand you love off-roading.
Yep.
And you have a souped-up Jeep. That
I have a souped-up Jeep that's lifted, and that's something that a lot of people didn't know until about a couple of years ago. I'm gonna bring up my friend Karthik.
Yes.
You know Karthik really well. I still remember I was about to order a Tesla, and I had ordered it, and I was just waiting for it. It was taking too long, and for some odd reason, Khatidja was like, "Hey, something's not right. I think you want a different car." I'm like, "Dude, I've always wanted a Jeep Wrangler. Like I don't know if it's safe or not." And she's like, "What are you gonna do with the Jeep?" And I was like, I just want to go off roading, and she just get to that midlife crisis, I guess. So I love off roading, and we've gone
Yes.
together. We've had a great time. It's just something completely different that I enjoy.
So what got you into? Was it something growing up you would see Jeeps, you ride one? What got you? What got the bug in your head?
I have no idea, but I don't know. I just thought Jeep Wranglers were cool. I don't know why. Just
Midlife crisis.
yeah. I mean, you have your I guess your roof down, and it's more than a convertible. And then when you get it lifted, you're like above everybody else. So it just feels great. And it's just like top of the
These
world.
rides on a freeway are not as comfortable.
Oh no,
But
they're
once
not.
you go off-roading, you realize what power these machines have. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in a Jeep, I've ridden a few times. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The kind of maneuvers you can do with, 2 wheels in the air, 2 in the air, 2 all down, and It's insane.
So we went recently, Kunal and I, with a group of people, and there was this one crazy, I guess, path that we had to follow. And I kid you not, Kunal, you were
Of the
a
first
daredevil. Yeah, you were the first one. You'd be like, I got this, and we were all like, oh my god, he's gonna die.
Yeah, we had 2 guides and instructors.
Yes.
And they said, we've not done this before. And we were 7 or 9 Jeeps.
Yep.
And we were all trailing behind.
Yep.
I was ahead of everyone. He said, oh, we're going to take this route. I said, no, let's go this way. No, we have
I
not
still
done
remember.
this. I said, listen, we got to do what we got to do.
Yep.
It's one life. I asked him, hey, if I trip or if I have an incident, would I die? I said, unlikely. So that's it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, we were really lucky that you did that for us, because
And
then
then
we
we
were
all
able
did
to
that.
follow you along.
Correct. So exciting times. Off-roading is your passion. Khatidja, I know you love to dance.
Dance.
And you're a foodie. You always like to try different cuisines. Talk about your passion, Khatidja.
I love food. I love eating different cuisines, just like you said. And, we're instilling that in our daughters as well. I think their number one favorite food is probably sushi.
Oh, really?
So, I try to let them experience it all as well. So,
All right, this is how much of a foodie she is. All right, so at the office every single day, around 11:30, 12 o'clock, or she will gather everyone up like, hey, what are we eating today? Like that's a conversation that happens every single day almost, like, hey, what are we eating today? And I'm like, oh my God, taking away from work time.
So you not only like to eat, but you like to eat with your family and group and your team
Yeah.
members.
Yeah.
Love that.
Friends.
What's your favorite restaurant?
there's too many to name.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one restaurant for dinner tonight, which one would you pick tonight? What are you craving for today?
I think I would like Aiko, some sushi.
Sushi? How about for you, Faisal?
I think so. I think that's one of our favorite places for sure. And then, we like steak 48 a lot too, for steak. And then casual, I mean, everywhere from Agas to like Porter Peri Peri to like
But today is sushi night.
barbecue.
Today is sushi night in my head.
In
we
your
have
head?
we have basketball practice, so it's not going to happen. But
Absolutely. It was absolutely amazing to hear your journey, what you've accomplished. You guys met early on and reconnected. Both went to law firms where it was your parents and your uncle who influenced you, and then starting your own law firm, title company, with a vision, passion to serve the community, the pro bono work that you do. You said you lead by adding value to your clients and customers. So that builds that trust. The business is the byproduct, but your business, over $1 billion of volume business done in less than a decade, is absolutely incredible. One of the last few questions I want to ask you is, you are doing incredibly well in the Houston market. Where do you want to see yourself in the near future? It could be personal growth, could be business growth, could be anything that, here's what I see Faisal, independence title, or Vellani law firm, as a family person. What do you foresee yourself?
You talked about this in your book. You have to have a vision, right? So we have a vision, but together with that, we have some step-by-step goals, right, to get to that vision. And I think the nearest one is to continuously grow, to bring in the right team. And one thing we're noticing in our business, and maybe some of you guys have noticed, is that initially about a few years ago we were like, hey, we're gonna scale and open up more offices, right? Physical offices. Well, that's sort of changed since COVID, and we're noticing a lot of folks are wanting to close remotely, and so that physical presence may not be necessary. So what we're looking at is how can we expand our business. If you have to take that physical growth, we will. But is that necessary or not? And so how can we go from Sugar Land, Houston area to Dallas, Austin, San Antonio without actually having a physical presence? So we're evaluating that, but that's something that hopefully we can figure out quickly and implement it quickly too.
Fantastic. How about for you, Khatidja? It doesn't have to be about business. It could be a personal growth, could be for your daughters. Where do you see yourself, your family in the near future?
why do you put me on this spot?
So let me make it simpler. So your daughters are young.
Just kidding.
Daughters are young, right? If you had to tell something to them today, a personal story, something that Faisal that you did to inspire them, your young daughters today, one incident, one story, an inspiration, what would you say to them right now?
Okay, so my inspirational story is when we first started our business, the first transaction that I closed was $10,000 piece of property. Not premium,
The
not
real estate
tus-
value of that
the
asset.
asset
not
was
not $10,000 in revenues. This is like a $10,000 transaction.
Okay, so this gentleman who is a mentor, one of our mentors, he brought us this contract and he was purchasing an alley. So he owned the property to the right and to the left, and somebody owned the alley. And he was purchasing that alley for $10,000, and it was my first transaction I closed as an escrow officer because, of course, I was on the law firm side before, and that meant a lot. And then that same gentleman came back and he platted everything together and was doing a construction loan because it was development and brought us, a multi-million-dollar contract. And when he handed us the contract, he said, "Here you go, mess up as much as you want, but I know you're not going to." And I think that was the most inspirational piece of advice I could give my daughters.
Yeah, you have to have trust. You have to be, when you're starting a business, you should realize that it's what you've done from the past, right? To show that you're a good person. I think that this mentor of ours, we're very fortunate to have him. And because of the way how we grew up in front of him and just our personalities and being transparent about things and trying to educate ourselves, I think he noticed that, right? So for him to say, "Hey, mess up as much as you want because I know you're not going to," that meant a lot to us we've been very fortunate. A lot of friends and family have supported us because they have a lot of trust in us and in our abilities to get the job done, I guess.
So you would say it's not the transaction size, not the commission earned. It's about who is involved in the process. That person could be a mentor or a guide to you that's worth every transaction, worth every minute.
Correct.
Engaging with them. Don't look at
100%.
how much money you can get out of the transaction because a $10,000 piece of property,
It's like $200.
the fee would be minimal. In fact, it would cost you money,
Probably.
cost you more
Yes.
to transact that.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. So that's the inspiration that you share with the daughters today.
Yeah.
Don't look at the dollar amount. Look at who you're working with because you never know how they can
Who
be
you're
your
working with
mentors.
and the quality of product, right? One thing we also preach in our office is that if it's a $100,000 transaction or a $100 million transaction, the work got to be the same, right? The quality of work cannot decline because that same client who is bringing you that $100,000 transaction a few years from now, maybe he's scaling so much that he's going to bring you a $50 million transaction, right? And so you have to be, your work product cannot decline. It's something very important, and it's part of you. It's part of who you are. So.
Love it. I absolutely loved engaging with you guys today, Faisal.
Thank you so
Khatidja.
much. Thank you.
I know so much more about you now, your story, your inspiration, and I'm blessed to be in business with you and to call you my friend today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Khatidja.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you so
guys.
much.